everybody, I'm Nora Burrows. We're going to continue on with Darlene Michaud's block of the month. This is block 5. So far we've done a house, a cat, a heart, and an umbrella, and today we're going to make a tulip. So check out Darlene Michaud's video. Last name is Michaud for all of the measurements because she created these blocks. It's also really fun to see how different her blocks look from my blocks, even though they're the same block. Let's take a look at fabric. For the tulip, I'm going to use these 3 fabrics. This will be the top of the tulip. Darlene made hers a purple tulip, so I thought I would do the same. These have little roses on them, not tulips, but still in the flower theme. And then this I'm going to use for the leaves. These are, I think, like snowbells or something like that. So still in the flower theme, and then this will be my background. I think this is a really cool piece, and this is all I have left of it. So if I had the opportunity, I would get yardage of this because it really does make a great background. Let me cut out the pieces and then we'll talk about those. Here are my pieces for just the tulip. I am going to tell you the size of these pieces because I'm doing this block pretty different than Darlene. Most of these pieces are a different size than her pieces. Now for the rectangles and squares that go around this center tulip, you'll need to go and look at her video because those will remain the same. But these are different enough that I want to tell you the sizes. So these are still 1-inch squares. These 2 squares are 1 3/4 inch each, 2 of them. This one here, this rectangle, is 3 inches by 1 3/4 inches. For the leaves and stem, the stem is 1 inch wide. And I made it a little bit longer than these 2 other pieces here, so it's not really an exact measurement. I just made it a little longer than these. So the leaves here are 2 1/4 inches wide by 4 1/2 inches tall. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares that are 2 1/4 inches. So these tan squares are 2 1/4 inches. The tan really blends in with my tablecloth, so I apologize for that. Let's talk about how to sew these up. It's really quick and easy. I put diagonal lines on every single one of my squares. So all those 4 and these 4 all have diagonal lines. And this is how I'm going to sew them on. Right sides together, right along the base of this rectangle here, and then up on the inner part of the tulip. This is going to make the little dent that goes in the tulip. And then for the larger squares, we're going to put them like this and like this. And then same for the other side, only opposite. Now I'm going to sew directly on all of these lines. Now that I've sewn my diagonal lines, I'm going to cut the back part off so that I will fold this open, and there will be my leaf. But I need to make sure to cut the right side off. You don't want to cut anything from the middle. So about 1/4 behind, I'll just make this cut. And on the other side. And then I'll do the same for this piece, not cutting anything in this middle strip. I'll fold open and press. For these little ones, I just cut off the backs here. Again, fold these open and press, and cut off the little corners up here. Fold these open and press. Here are my pieces, and it's looking very tulip-like. I'm happy with it so far. Now, you may be wondering, why am I doing this differently than Darlene did? The reason is that the way that Darlene did it, and I think she mentioned in her video that she kind of got this pattern from the Zuri Star Quilt Company, Jenny Doan, but the way that pattern is that you use primarily half square triangles. So this would be a half square triangle, this would be a half square triangle, same over here. This would be both half square triangles. And the way that I do it here, it eliminates some of the seams. I don't like to have the fabric kind of broken up with seams. So wherever I can keep the fabric just solid, I try and do that. So that's why I've done it a little bit differently. Now the next step is we want to attach our leaves to the stem. So I'll put these right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch and iron. I'll do the same to the other side. Right sides together, 1/4 inch, and fold these open and then give that a nice iron. Now with the top, I'm going to sew these two pieces together, right sides together, 1/4 inch, and open up, and then sew this unit to this unit. So now I have my tulip top and I have my tulip bottom, but before I connect these together, I need to put some sides on here. So I've cut these pieces to be 1 1/4 inch wide by whatever the length of this is here, which is about 3 inches. So I'll attach those onto the center piece here, and then this full piece I'll attach onto this piece and then trim. I've cut 3 1-inch strips of the background fabric. One will go on each side and then one on the top. I'm leaving the bottom without background because in order to get this the right size that I need, that's just what has to happen, because this has to be a specific size to go into the full piece that Darlene has made. So then I also cut, this is going to be a border. I cut 1-inch strips of border, 4 of them, and these will go on each side, and then hopefully this block will be the correct size where I can start adding on the squares and rectangles. Here is my tulip. I think it's looking awesome. I really love it. That purple is just absolutely perfect. Now, what I did just notice is that I must have put my leaves on upside down because this fabric is supposed to go this way, and now it's not, which is kind of funny because after I published the last video, which was of the umbrella, some of you pointed out that my raindrops were upside down, which they were. So I don't know what it is with me and putting these fabrics in this quilt upside down, but it just is the way it is. I think you can't really tell unless you look closely. So it's just gonna live like this. Now we need to pick out some fabrics to be the squares and rectangles that go around this block. And I've pulled some pieces that I think could look really cool. I have these green roses. This I think might be a what do you call that really fancy fabric? It's a Tana lawn or something like that. And I got this secondhand, but it feels kind of like it could be. It might not be, so don't quote me on that. These are just some other ones that I pulled. Let's take a quick look. We have some more roses here, which is the correct color. I have to be careful not to put this too close to the border because it would blend. Let's back up. Then I have some trees in pink and a purple geometric. I'm not going to use all of these, but this is kind of what I have to choose from. A gingham, pink gingham, and then this other green, really cool one. So the ones that I'm kind of leaning towards that I definitely want to use, I definitely want to use this and this. Maybe this one. Let me take these other ones away for a minute and see how these look together. I think it needs something a little bit more neutral. I do also have this, which I've used in a previous block. And actually I used this, this border I used in a previous block. I used this in the heart block. I might need to pull some other pieces, but let me think and cut some of my squares and rectangles and see where we're at. I've cut out and placed my squares and rectangles around the tulip block. I haven't sewn anything together yet. I think most of these fabrics you already saw. I showed you this one, the other floral, the green roses, but I added two. I added this pink tree one here, which at first I had completely eliminated because I just thought it was too bright, but it ended up being pretty perfect, I think. And then also this polka dot that's kind of on this light green background with this bright kind of orange, almost red dot. So these are looking good, I think. I did what I normally do where I had some of the same prints touching, actually only here, and then I think here I kind of wanted to wrap the corner. Oh, I also have it here as well, touching. To get these exact measurements for all of these squares and rectangles, as I mentioned, check out Darlene Michaud's video. Now let's sew some of these up. So if I kind of look at these in sections, this section that's attached to this side will go first. So I'll sew these two pieces together, and then this unit to this unit. And then our next unit will be from here over. So if we kind of separate this, and our third unit will be from here to here, and then we'll attach this strip onto the body. So I'm gonna sew these units together. Check out Darlene's video to see kind of how to sew these sections together. I think most of you can do that intuitively, but if you have any questions, she goes into it in pretty thorough detail. I'm gonna sew my units together, and then we'll take a look at it before we sew the units to the body of the tulip. I have my units sewn together here. I'll attach, as I mentioned, I'll attach this piece first, right sides together, so 1/4 inch and open. Then I'll do the same, this unit to the body. Then I'll attach this unit on the right to the body, and then this final strip along the bottom. And here is the finished block. I think it looks great. I think these fabrics all came together really nicely, and that tulip in the center is just stunning. My only complaint is that I don't like how this is not a perfect corner here. And I'm not sure if that's just the way I put it together was a mistake or what, but I think that if you did it Darlene's way, where every single fabric is different, this spot here wouldn't look strange. It would actually look kind of cool if this was a different fabric than this. So in some aspects, like how this came together here, looks really awesome, I think. So it's just keeping in mind, really looking at the pattern before moving forward with your fabric placement. This bothers me so much that in the future, I might go back and see if I can fix that in some way, but I might also just let it be. And for this video, I'm just gonna leave it the way that it is and think it over, but it really irritates me. So let's put this block together with the other blocks and see how they look together. It's hard to fit these all in the screen, and after we do the next block, I'll probably have to start putting them on the ground to get a full view of all blocks, but I think they look really cool together, and I am leaning towards no sashing, just having the blocks right up against each other. It's interesting that most of the fabrics in each block are different, but they cohesively kind of go together pretty well, I think. And then I am using fabrics, as I mentioned, from the other blocks in new blocks to kind of add some consistency. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.